Good day everyone. Just thought I'd quickly get the board data in there since I could actually read it for a change in my life. There's an A20840 board, which is actually different. Normally we get the 875s, which are very similar, but the big difference between the 840 and the 875 is the 840 has this little PI3 USB 32 chip, which is indeed the same one that's in the Nintendo Switch. But whereas the 875 does not have that chip. Anyway, we'll try and make this a comparatively quick one, but then again, saying that probably sets me up for a bit of failure. It is Thursday night here, so everybody's been going all mad today. Down the shop was absolutely crazy. It was like everybody was buying as if the shops weren't going to be open for another year or so. Couldn't find a park in the parking lot or anything. But yeah, that's Thursday night before the Good Friday. Well, actually all of today was like that down at the car park. Because I had a whole lot of packages that I was sending out today. A lot of jobs that were finished and dispatched. And so there was no shortage of activity downtown. That's it. Travis, you're trying to avoid your day job? That's not very good. Hello, Hamimo. Not sure I recognize your name. Welcome if you're new. Thanks for dropping in. My apologies if you're not new and I just have failed to remember you. Miles, you've got one of these, have you? I actually don't mind this board. They do have a slight propensity to die of CPU death, and I'm hoping that is not the case here. But overall, for the last removable storage board, I still find it to be a fairly decent offering. Good evening, Wongwei. Hey, Travis. Oh, you already said hello to you. Yeah. Travis is like that wart that you keep forgetting you have on your body, and every time you finally go, oh, hello, and then you realise, oh yeah, that's right, I remember you. And Travis is like, I'm insulted. Also hoping not to see roaches. Well, that would make two of us. I mean, for as much as I tolerate insect activity here, I'm also not partial to roaches. At least certainly not the kind of roach like what we call German roaches or European roaches here. But the Australian roaches actually aren't too bad. They don't give you that I want to throw up and die type reaction. If I had to take a guess, I'm going to measure, see if we've got a short over here. Did you get your supply of dunny paper? Oh yeah, I bought 3 years worth. And my guess is wrong. Okay. Hey, Civlop. Did anyone see Anel's board repair today? I did not. Unfortunately, I have not really had much of a chance to catch up on the Rossmann repairs. When I say Rossmann repairs, I'm referring to Rossmann Repair Group, so that could be Paul, Anel, Lewis himself, anyone amongst that group. And I'm kind of upset about that because I would like to, that inductor's pretty messed up, but I'm fairly sure it should have continuity. Yeah, okay, so that's good. It's got continuity there. It may be a problem and I'll revisit it later if I have to, but for now we're just going to go around, see if we can find any sort of janitorial issues, as it were. I'm happy to see that the VREG controller area is clean. Usually on these boards we get a short here on that ceramic cap there, but it wasn't the case today. I gotta admit, if I can't find it visually, I am gonna hit it with the ultra infrared camera and see what comes up. That current sense resistor looks like it's got a bit of a something on the surface there. I'm not sure if it's anything or if it's just nothing, but I'm just putting that in the memory bank. Oh yeah, right, okay, we found it. Okay. Oh man. The last, and this is probably gonna suck. This most likely may end up as a no fix. The last time I had one of these, it was a no fix as well. Something about when this area gets hit, it just kills the board, but we'll see. We'll replace it and have a look. I'm kind of upset about seeing that. Yeah, there's a bit of corrosion there, but that one's fortunately no damage. I'm just checking the other areas to see if there's anything secondary. At least with these boards, if things go wrong, that's okay. You just get another one and get your data back. But yeah, that's janitorial, but it's not in the right place. It's a bit like with the A1708 boards when you get the SSD VREGs taken out. But yeah, if you get corrosion on this area, like I said, I don't know why, but it does have this habit of killing the board. And it's a bit like the situation with Paul S. when he's trying to fix up, even if you know what's killing a board, like in, okay, there's corrosion there or whatever, it's another serious investment of time again to actually find out why it's killing it. Such as the case with the GAV chips versus the GAY chips. Many a time you do want to actually dive into it, but you just simply don't have the time. And this is difficult to get off. There we go. You know what? Those two little caps have to go as well. I'm not really sure why the corrosion seems to appear in that place. Certainly hoping that it's in my favour today, but we'll see. Because it doesn't appear to be a flow in from the back or anything like that. It just... I can't really explain this one yet. I haven't had enough cases of it to be able to start to establish a route in which it's taking to get here. Just scratch off the oxidization. Let's put down some superior solder with health improving lead. If I could find, oh, there it is. Now, I think this is one of the chips that's only present on the 840 as well. I can't remember, but we'll see. As soon as I go to my donors, we'll find out. Aha, lucky me. There's actually one there. It looks pretty damn gnarly, but it should do the task. Hey Teresa. Yeah, talking about blood. Oh no. Teresa cursed the board. Look at that. Look at the amount of blood coming out of that. Teresa cursed it. Thanks, Teresa. Try this one. There you go, that looks much better. The other one's going to be known as the Teresa board now because she talked about blood curse and what do you know, it started bleeding. I'm blaming you, Teresa. I'm trying out my American psychology. And the first rule of American psychology is blame someone else. You don't know that it's not my blood. For all you know, these could all be my silicon children. Good evening, Jim. Welcome. Oh, it's slightly big blobs. It's okay. We'll just absorb them. Noink. A bit of discoloration going on down there. We'll transfer those two caps as well. Oh, scratch your eyes out. I see PC Fix Cat's here. Hello, PC Fix Cat. Yeah, one cap at a time. Honestly, I need 3 hands here. Because I've got to put the hot air station or the hot air holster back, not holster, the wand back into the holster before I can move the board. It's sort of like I need a knee or foot controlled bench so I can shift it left and right just with my knee or foot. What you do, Teresa, you have a knife slippage. That's not good. Yeah. I can understand how that happens. I'm sorry to hear that it did happen. Oh, damn it. I got impatient there. Really must try not to wash down the boards with IPA while they're still hot enough to be able to make it ferociously bubble like that. Just in case you sort of inadvertently crack something. It's particularly bad if you do that on an iPhone, particularly if you've got an iPhone, one of the older 6S and things like that, and the solder used for the frames, the shields, is a low temperature variety. So frequently it will actually still be liquid at that time, and then you go and you brush it and you just spread that liquid solder everywhere. It's not pretty. Alright, let's see if this works. Now we do get 20 volts on this, but we need to get more than that. As in, we need more than just 20 volts. We need actual booting current. Alright, we don't get 20 volts now. Great, we're going backwards. That suckety sucks. What about this one? That's hilarious. We were getting 20 volts before, now we're getting nothing. Wow, not a damn thing. Alright, clearly something's not kosher. What board are you? Hopefully it's not a reversal of the board. Well, that's an 840 as well. So I can't blame, say, an 840 versus 875 flipping or anything. No, I'm not really sure there. That's the only real hint, other than maybe there's an issue with the ISL, CD3215. The dodgy tester, no, that's the good tester. It's Ramadan. Ah, yeah. We're going to get Zombie Jesus in a couple of days. He's going to roam the lands on his Raptor. If you misbehave, he'll set the Raptor onto you. Just going to take that off and see if it makes a difference. Actually, I might just check that cap there before I make any further moves. Hey, B-Blood. There's a bit of a hole there. I'm not sure what to think of that yet. Let's have a look at the board view and schematic and see what it's got to say about nothing. Okay, so it's this chip here, 8210. And let's see, it generates 3v3s4 and 5vso. Well, I shouldn't say generates, it basically takes 3v3s5 and 5vs4, and when the signals are right, it lets them out as 3v3s4 and 5vso. So what I might do is check to see if we are getting the inputs and then see if we are getting the outputs. One other check I can do is just simply to look at the diode mode values, although they seem to be missing for those two there. That's okay, we've got these ones. It's a good start. What? Why is the multimeter decided not today? Come on. Seriously? You play this game, are you? Okay, just please stand by. the multimeter has decided that. Okay, we should be back now. Okay, the reason why it died was because of the EMF or shock from when I switched the extractor. Unfortunately, it happens. Okay, 3.7. Yeah, it's close enough. 4.2. Close enough. 4.5. Close enough. 4.7. Close enough. 7.36. Man. Yep. 7. 2. Yeah. Okay, here we go. We've got a problem here. This is that pin there. Ah, damn it. I was wrong. It's good. It was me not pressing down hard enough. UPS is probably one of the better tricks. I could just put a snubber on it. It's for when it switches off, and there's, I'd say, the electronics in the controller for the fan, they're not the best. I'm going to plug it in and see if we've got input voltages, which will be here and here, and then output voltages, which will be here and here. Okay, so we've got voltage mode. Oh, now it's going 20 volts. You're crapping me. That's hilarious. Alright, that makes me think we have some kind of fatigue somewhere. Damn it. Press. Okay, so 3.3 is coming out good there. 5.11. Okay, so that's good. Alright, so we have some kind of break in the line. And I'm wondering if it's this here. See how it's not looking quite right? It's got like a donut in it. Is this hard to say is if that's a break just there or not. And probably near impossible to test, in all honesty. Because you can do a continuity test, but the thing is, as you apply pressure onto that, it's going to likely cause it to... Yeah, so there's no real way of me proving that. What I'm going to do is I'll take that chip off, and then just go over that whole area again. The thing is, these are actually test points. I'm not sure if it's veered or not, whether the veer is internal. Yeah, I'm going to take the chip off, move it to the side, and then inspect all the area again. See, if it's just simply a test pad, I'm not worried that it's donutting, from the corrosion or whatever that's on the pad, because it is, just a test pad. However, if there's a veer that goes in under it, that's a little more problematic. But I would imagine, in all honesty, that the vias will be going through this section here. You know, because that's where you want all the power to go. Mind you, these are actually different. Yeah, okay, my bad. They're different connect. Hey Greg, morning. Well, they don't really go anywhere as such. They're really just CT1, CT2. I'm not quite sure what CT is for. Control time, probably a turn. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. So what they're for is they control the turn on time, the delay, as it were. So with the 3.3, which is going to be CT1, the 1000 picofarad that we have here, which 1 nanofarad, will give us 1200 microseconds or 1.2 milliseconds, and on the 5 volt it's going to give us 1700 microseconds or 1.7 milliseconds delay between when the request comes in to switch it to the actual switching output. What's this one? Okay, they're just normal decouplers. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so they're test pads, in which case they have no function as such. The value, these caps maybe have to sit down a little better or something, not sure. I'll just check that there is proper activity there. They actually have a purpose other than decoupling. They are for timing. Okay, I think that could have been our problem there. Maybe, maybe not. Certainly wasn't the prettiest. Fortunately, these just go straight to ground at that point. Oh, camera, sorry folks. But it's a good example of how not all caps can be just removed, just like not all resistors can be shorted. Damn it. I take a little bit of offense, actually a lot, to people who try to just be a little bit flippant about replacing caps and resistors. Yay. Way to go, Paul. Perhaps a little bit too much solder there, eh? That'll be better. Far out. Guess who lost a cap? Well, that cap went on a journey. And where that journey took it, I doubt we'll ever know. So long, little cap. You'll be remembered for your service. And now we're just gonna... Wait, there you are. I found you. Welcome back, Cap. What an epic story. And now we've got to get this back on. Pin 1's up here. Might just puff up those pads a little bit more again. Because yeah, there's quite a bit of current going through this area. There's a bit of junk under there that I didn't spot, so that was my bad. Hey Jim. Hey Jaden. I'm thinking maybe what goes wrong when this chip has issues is perhaps it sends 5 volts onto the 3v3 line. It's about the best I can think of. Ah, that cap lifted up. That's a little unusual. Hey Pro Engineer, good evening. I don't suppose Harold's turned up, has he? I got a box of stuff from Harold today, and I gotta admit, it's gonna take me a little while to go through that box and work out what he sent me before I say much else. Customs thought it was interesting too, because they had opened it up and dug around in it. I'm actually having to put some, that's some 80/20. Just flipped off a Textralian. How mad was it down your way this afternoon with everybody preparing for the end of the week, heading into the great big long weekend? Personally, I loathe and detest the whole Easter Anzac period, because you've basically just, as a business, I'm talking from the perspective of business, you've just gotten on your feet after the Christmas break and then the Chinese New Year break, and everybody just simply getting up to speed, and you're getting your momentum, business is rolling on, and then bam, the Easter, Anzac holiday, May Day, all that sort of crap, Queen's birthday, all just piles on and wrecks your whole flow for the next couple of months. At least it feels that way. I know it's only a couple of weeks. People say, oh, it's only one day public holiday, but you'll be surprised how much of a knock-on effect having a couple of public holidays in odd places. Textralian, you just got out of Longstand Hospital. I'm very sorry to hear that, Textralian. Not good at all. Yeah, the Easter rush is just bonkers mad. I don't understand it. Never been a follower of it. You shitting me? We're back to... What the hell's going on here? We're back to 5 volts again. Right. Something strange on this board. Ticking me off. And of course the board's all hot now, so I can't even hit it with the old... Yeah, it's behaving like a short, but on the CD3215 side. I don't get it. And it's on all ports. It's very frustrating. ISL, perhaps. Your guts busted a leak, but kudos to my streams keeping me entertained. Oh, damn. Oh. I'm very sad to hear that. Not good when your gut busts a leak. Very unpleasant. Oh, I'm just gonna have to... I'm taking the drive out, that's it. Things have gotten serious now, I'm having to take the drive out. I was genuinely hoping this would be in and out. I mean, someone else has already, taken this drive out. That's not my doing. 1253. Precautionary marking. Hey Nick Vasey, how's it going there? Do not care to lose people's drives, ever. I've had enough moments where I thought I had, and that horrendous cold panic that sweeps over you and you just go blind and start running through your workshop hoping some kind of a miracle will point you to wherever it was that you really did leave their data drive. I'm just letting it cool down and see if I get it to come back up when it's cool. I mean, the USB-C side looks perfectly good. Yeah, maybe it's something wrong with the C3215 here. I really can't spot anything specifically bad there. It might be something under that CD3215. I somewhat have my doubts. I mean, it might be that cap that I was looking at before. But again, yeah, it's... When you get these liquid damage situations, it's almost always the liquid damage. That inductor, I will admit, I think needs changing. That has certainly gone a bit too far, in my opinion. So maybe we'll swap that. If it doesn't give me 20 volts now, maybe we'll swap the inductor. It could be a case, if that inductor is inhibited, maybe it's got a couple of turns that have shorted out, and so effectively it's a smaller inductor. It won't be able to provide the initial power that's required. Yeah, it's not coming up. So I'm going to actually change. I'm going to change that inductor and be curious to see if it fixes it. It's a bit like if you've worked on iPhones and if the MacBook backlight circuits too. If you worked on backlight circuits, and if the inductor is somewhat damaged, and has less inductance, then you find it works, but you don't get the full brightness. When you try to go out to full brightness, it sort of stutters. Now I'm going to pickle these ends because we are right next to a connector. As well as the SSD connector. It's in a bit of an awkward spot basically. Son of a gun. Turn the board around, Paul. Stop being a lazy git. Hey, Nate Wesselink. Glad you could actually make it. Am I usually streaming too early? Yeah, too early for you. Now, if I was really ballsy, I could try and just lever that off, but I'm not quite sure I'm up to that sort of size today. So we're just going to do a bit of a from a distance, a bit middle of heating. We also got to watch out for that there because that's underfilled. Okay, one side, there we go. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great. That still functions, but I'm disappointed in myself, so next time I'll try harder. Next time I'll do better. That, or next time I'll care less. Michael, the trouble is, you still got to clean that up, and realistically, I don't find it that useful for these sort of scenarios. The other problem is you've got to get it to wick under there anyway, so you're going to have to apply the heat. It was just me being a little bit less careful than I should be, because I take these connectors off all the time without melting them. I just got a little bit close, mostly because I was trying to avoid this one and that one. So I kind of sacrificed this one as the easiest to replace if I had to. All about picking your victims. Speaking of which, my god, that's a terrible... Oh, I know why, it's because they cut that off. Locking down the bar does help, yes. So let's see if we can do a better job on this one. Hey, Christos. Let's see, Nate. Been working on PCs for years, but between myself and Lewis, we've learned a lot about doing board level repairs on Macs. Oh, thank you. Hopefully it's more along the lines of what not to do. How not to... learn by our examples of when things go wrong. Alright, so we've pickled the connections. Let's try to do better this time. The other thing I can do here is just flood it with flux. Or I could actually put a shield on it, that would help. There we go. And there you go, see? No damage to the thing. So yes, it's possible, it's just you gotta probably not sit there and yabber all the time. Let me guess, you got, yep. I'll just clear up a couple of those blobs. Okay, this side is the trickier one to get the soldering iron into. So we'll actually sort of push it back a little bit like that, and then we'll slide it across if required. And I'm going to put down some solder initially. That's good enough. That up to temperature. As soon as I put this down, it's going to freeze it basically until we can get the heat in there. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to stuff this up. Alright, that's good. As I said, going to stuff it up. It does need to be reflowed slightly, but we'll use some assistive hot air to get the perfect flow. Because these are high current devices, you do want to get that solder all the way under the pad. If you just simply make a fillet on the outside, it will tend to create it basically creates a slightly higher resistance for that connection. So this is now 250 centigrade. And it's just going to help wick it out. Okay, I can see it's already wicked out now. So it's all good. And that one's already all good. So we don't know if that's going to fix it, but like I said, it's on the rare occasion. If you see sort of the corrosion level we were seeing on that inductor, it may be worth at least trying it. Especially considering it was being a bit of a weird fault, intermittently coming up and down. Okay, and we'll probably find nothing's changed. So there we go. Hey, we've got 20 volts. And we've got the right sort of current, I think. 400, 420, 420, 420. It's holding a bit steady though. I don't like that. Okay, 0, resetting. You're going to come back up? Come on, man. 400. Ah, that's not a good sign. That's a... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a dead CPU. We'll plug it back in and see if we can get anything out of it, but I'm pretty sure that's a dead CPU. Looks like I've run out of paper roll. Oh, I've got to go do micro. So I'll get the paper roll and do micro in one hit, and we'll be back in about 4 minutes or so. So stand by. Alright, we're back. So we're just going to... Yes, we're just going to try and put the board back in without destroying the board. That's probably already dead. I use a lot of paper towel. Now, I know you're being funny, but I use a lot of paper towel simply because I'd like to... Damn it, why is it always like this? I like to avoid getting the flux residues onto the back of the chassis. So I tend to just put it down to provide a little bit of protection for the customer's machine. But that's not the answer you were after. And that's okay. And I trapped the damn keyboard one under there. That's just so typical. It is one thing I'm not too fond of with this particular board. Well, this style of design is the way that these flexes here kind of have to unnaturally be forced. I mean, is it really necessary to make it that you have to do it that way? That one's fine, that's just a speaker. Alright, let's see if this will actually come up on a USB boot stick. Well, we are getting a fan spin. Not much else though. And fan spin has stopped. Chances are looking very unlikely. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is about when that area gets damaged. It seems to destroy the board. I will plug it so it's got the battery, although it shouldn't actually need it to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, I'll test the click and the caps. Let's see if we get anything there. Yeah, maybe there's something, maybe the SMC is jacked up or something like that. I haven't tried on this one. I'll just plug it in and see what happens. No point having a boot. It'll either come up with a folder or it won't. You can see there's a whole bunch of junk in the keyboard too. These keys are jammed as, so maybe the keyboard doesn't help. I do have a click. I've got no caps. We'll give it a minute. Let's stop fan spinning anyway. Well, I don't know if you could say CPU is fine. Because there's been certainly plenty of machines where you get the trackpad click and nothing else, no matter what. Let's see what doing. Yeah, we're still getting 20 volts, 735, 755. So it's charging the battery. 255, 20 volts. It's kind of jumped around a bit there. 330, 640, 670. I think that was my air conditioner, not a bong. Force the DFU and see what Apple Config 2 says. Yeah, I could try that. I'm kind of worried this keyboard won't let me do that, but yeah. Just power up that machine. Your computer shut down, no one cares. Let's fire up Apple Configurator. Okay, I'm just going to unplug that and I'm just going to take it to the machine behind me, and it has all the prerequisites I need to see if we can go DFUing. Oops. Let's see, power shift control option. Cannot use Thunderbolt accessory. Connect accessory to Thunderbolt port on this Mac. Yeah. That's always a bit ominous when it does that. Let's give it some USB-C. Naturally, the USB-C cable is not quite long enough. Okay, let's try that again. Power shift control option. Yeah, it really doesn't want to go on DFU, it doesn't want to talk to it. I have one at work doing much the same. Last idea is to force DFU, no paths, or send it up to me. Yeah, great, you'll probably end up with the same outcome. I am curious that it's telling me that it's having problems with the Thunderbolt port. I'm just going to try my other charge brick. Yeah, just in case I've got a dud brick or something like that. The other thing I can do is try put it into a different chassis and see if that comes up. Get nothing. Does the 1708 even support this mode? Because I was trying to think, does the 1708 even support config 2? Because it doesn't have a T2 on it. Oh, branches and Sudi. It does, but with a key. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, no worries. Okay, I'll drop it into another chassis, see what happens, but I suspect something else is still not quite right. We do have our 20 volts, but we don't have much else. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, DeAndre. But we'll give it a whirl anyway. Because I'm not sure what would be on this board that would actually manage that. Has that SMC been... Let's look at the SMC area. That's pretty downright pristine. I'm just looking to see if I missed a blob of corrosion or something. Yeah, the 1706 might, yeah. Certainly what bothers me here is that it's doing the loop. So like it'll do the current and you think, oh yeah, it's going to boot, and then it loops. Then it does the current, and you go, oh yeah, and then it loops. So that, in my experience, has generally been bad news. I could be being prejudiced. We're certainly getting our 20 volts consistent now, so I'd say that inductor was a problem. Just seeing if this heats up. So we've got 10 watts going into the board. It's got to be coming up somewhere. I'm fairly sure it's coming. I can feel that's warming up. But yeah, the real problem is that it just doesn't change, and that's not good. Because when a board goes through a booting process, you know, the current should fluctuate. This is just staying constant. probably not much point thermal camming it. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, there is a rising incidence of these boards failing CPU wise, and like I said, even more when that switch has been corroded, it just seems to make it even worse. I'm just going to check the resistances on the various GPU and CPU sides. 1.5, it kind of feels like it's a bit low. 3.2 is okay. Yeah, 3.2. Yep, that's good. Two 2.5. Well, the default is 2.5 and we're below that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is actually bad. Because, I mean, it is 1 ohm less, but that could be within margin of error. This could also be a higher spec CPU compared to the one that the original measurement was taken from. The board is warm, yes. Although it's not that, it's barely above ambient now again, because most of the heat got taken out by here, by the heatsink. I think I'll have to put this one to the side and have a dig around later, and I'll ask a few questions. I could understand if the board was, say, fresh after a reflow of some sort, dropping down to that lower spec of resistance, but that was just a little bit too low for normal. But anyway, alright, let's attack one more board and then I'm done for the night. What have I got? Oh geez, 1707. Alright, anyone want to make bets on the fact that this 1707 may have the classic corrosion down the side? Does not pull power, sometimes shows 20 milliamps, no fan spin, no chipmunk. Okay. I'm just going to have to drop the bottom off camera. This machine's a little unusual in that it's actually a silver body instead of space grey. Most people switched over to space grey with this series. Silver body kind of represented more the 2010 through to 2015 era. Okay, you're going for the CD cap one. All right, that's a pretty fair bet. Although usually you get that more on the 1706, but it could be on this one too. Oh, it's a dust mite haven. Yeah, that can go in the bin. This could be an either or. It could be a big fat bunch of corrosion down the side here like we often get, or it looks like it's more the dry dust, so it may be the single corroded cap by the CD. Let's see what we got. 20 volts. Ooh, that doesn't bode well for the cap option. Because normally with the cap option you don't get the 20 volts come up, but yeah, it could still be. It could be one of the other little caps next to it. Don't give up on your bets yet. I see there's already bad blood going on. Never know, moles could still be right. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be one of the caps specific to the CD3215. It could be just a secondary cap next to it. Hey Oliver. I think the most painstaking part of this is just getting the boards out. Try not to rush it too much. I had one the other day and I was being a bit careless and just wasn't paying sufficient attention when I was putting in the screws. Slipped and there's a resistor down here that I had to replace. It was just like, crikey, there goes an hour of my time because of 5 seconds of not giving complete and utter dedication towards what I was doing. Hey Service PC Specialist, welcome. Come on. There we go. A little bit tricky getting those little bent metal shields off. Lucky I didn't rip a trace. Yeah, I was very happy. Basically what it did is it skimmed across the top of a resistor and smeared the solder plus end cap across the top. It measured okay, but I wasn't going to just willingly accept that. I was like, no, you don't. I'm not going to fall for that trap. So took the board out, resoldered it, put a new one on, tested everything again. This T4 I think is starting to round the tips a little bit, so I'll have to flatten it out. It's not bad. I mean, I've had this for, I don't know, 3-4 years now. And it's used all day, every day. And not always in perfect circumstances, like, I've sort of come in at an angle or something like that, which is, of course, not the right way to use a Torx driver. Time to switch to rehab. Now, that's a lame reason to do that. It's called wear and tear. And it's probably got another couple of years left in it. Like I said, I've just got to just flatten off the end a little bit more. And it'll be good to go. Be right as rain. I'll just use either a very fine pitch file or a sharpening stone. Either of them will do the job just dandy fine. Ow. That went up the fingernail in spite of wearing gloves. It doesn't rupture the glove, it just drives it up while the glove is still intact. Oh yeah, dust has just fallen all off this one. And the winner is... well, it's certainly no swamp monster. There's certainly some unpleasantries in there. Alright, sorry about that. Sorry about that runoff. I don't know what it was, but I heard something and I thought it was one of the fur kids out the back having a tussle with something. But turns out it was nothing. So it must have been something in this room, but I have no idea what. Hey Tessa. It's certainly a problem when you're hard of hearing. It's very hard to well, depends on how you're hard of hearing too. Depends on what the nature of your hearing loss is. But in my particular instance, I don't have very good directional ability and I've got a narrow spectrum of response. So it's extremely hard to ascertain as to what's making a noise and where. So effectively I have to respond to almost everything. Alright, here we go. Yeah, bumps in the night for certain. Maybe not. Damn that TM. These are becoming exceptionally expensive, these TMP461s. They're more expensive than flipping ISLs. Alright, that's some really gnarly damage there. That's not a capacitor. I don't think it's an inductor. But that capacitor looks a bit sus. Those 0 ohm resistors are a bit out of whack too. Could it be the fault? I'm not sure. We'll test. And wow, the extractor is actually really kicking the daylights out of my multimeter tonight. Normally it doesn't. Well, not sure, but it's gnarly enough that it could be trouble. Yep. Oh, we don't even know what board we're dealing with, but we'll take a guess. 239 or a 923, whatever. A 281 maybe. Yeah, I think 281. Yeah, it kind of helps if I was on continuity mode. No. Yeah, you see, we've lost continuity. Oh no. Shut your face, Paul. Yeah. So those 0 ohms need replacing. These two parts need replacing. That probably is going to need replacing. Let's see if we're shorted here. We're not shorted there. Not shorted there. The cap in the middle of the shield doesn't look too happy. What? What cap in the middle of the shield? I'm not sure what you mean that. There's a number of not happy parts, but so far not a smoking gunner. I'd say maybe that inductor is crapped out. That's still a little unusual that it'd be 0. I'm kind of fearing that I'm going to find something more severe somewhere. Could be on the other side, like that one last night that we were hunting around trying to find it, and it turns out it was on the other side. Below the shield, roughly in the middle. Let's see, below the shield, roughly in the middle. Are you talking about this one? That's one of the ones that we replaced the other night. That one looks okay from here. Under the microscope, it looks pretty normal to me. Yeah, see, we have these ones up here that can die. Kind of like that. Fortunately, these boards are pretty tolerant with regards to the SSD supply, unlike those other ones. We'll see if it's that one. We'll take it off. And hopefully it is. But again, like the one last night, we'll go through and we'll do the preventative maintenance replacements as well, because we don't want it coming back. It's not a guarantee this is actually the one, but it's a bit messy, so we're going to take a chance. It actually looks pretty intact, that one, so it could be something else on the rail. Well, let's see if it's still shorted. Alright, we're still shorted. So it wasn't that one, but it was certainly... it was heading on its way out anyway. We just kind of showed at the door before it started causing trouble. Now we need to find out what board it is. It's a 928. I just realised I haven't updated my... there we go. So it's 4206 that we were looking at. That's not good. Well, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. It could be... it could be either of these two. That's the one we removed. If it's not either of those two, then it will be U4200 itself at fault. or certainly seemed that way. So if we look, they're the other two. So I'll remove them and see what happens. So it's that. Oh, these do not match. Those two resistors there are rotated in the... Anyway, that's the cap. So we'll take that one and that one. And if the short persists after that, then we've got a Berkeleyan problem. I'm trying real hard not to mess up that connector. That is a very hard short, whatever it is. Hopefully it's not board level. No, that doesn't look like it either, but we'll see. Caps don't always have cracks and whatnot through them. Crap. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these parts off, all the damaged parts, before I try to take the Berkeleyan off. Because, yeah, once you take that off, it's a little bit of a rigmarole to replace it. It's not the worst, but as always, you try to go for the simplest options if you can. It could be a case of it's showing a short, but it's actually the chip kind of channeling to another rail. So, yeah, anyway. So I'll just get these two parts off because they are a bit... I don't know where that solder came from. It's certainly not a healthy cap, that's for sure. Oh man, that's hot. Sorry, apparently things get hot when you heat them. Wow. I'm trying really hard to put my... Okay, so we've eliminated the short. So it would appear that the problem was more we're being deceived. It could be that... Man, I was going to say, it could be that in the board view and the schematic, this is obviously a different network. Now I'm going to say it was that one that have a different network name, but they actually may be physically a direct connection. Where did this solder all come from? So like if I lift this chip, maybe we'll see that this line goes in and it just connects to another line and it goes to those caps that we were looking at. Alright, let's start loading things back on. So we've got these three caps here. And they're all the beloved 15 microfarads, I think. Hey Paul T, how's it going? So we need 3 15, 63, 6.3, so yeah, we're going to need a new iPhone 6 board for this one. Since I've kind of stripped all the other iPhone 6 boards. Derivative or just aliased? Either way, we know what we're saying. We know what we're saying is basically they are connected. So have you been... Ooh, you've got all your caps. Awesome. It's stripping time. If I could just remember which ones I gotta steal. Hey Jan Zimmy. Yeah, like PP bus and PP bus HSCC PPU. Blah blah blah. Me can't speak. Let's see. Okay, so like on the iPhone 6 here. Let's see. Wrong. There, so we can just take these three here, they're all the same spec as what we're after. So 634, what's that one? 633, and so those two, and 614, and that one there. So dun. So that one, and that one. Just going to have to apply a little bit of heat to soften up that, what do you call it? That sort of infill. It's not really an overfill, it's not an underfill, it's more of an infill. Although I suppose it is technically underfill, it's just spilled out. I could do this without clearing it away, but it makes it easier. You see, this stuff covering this part is actually overfill. So yeah, it's kind of rubbery, whereas this stuff is a lot more robust. You just want to be careful though, because you can damage the caps. He says as he bashes through it. It's nice that iPhone's boards that I have finally have a use. Come on, it's 360 at 40. The only trouble is, of course, you get these dregs of that overfill and whatnot hanging off it. Just got to prep the pads. Might as well do all of them while I'm at it. And of course we will have to take donor parts from one of these boards to replace the inductor and cap that we took from the other side. That'll do. They don't look pretty at the moment, they're a bit Hershey-like, but they'll be good. We will have to use full temperature though, and I'm going to try and make it that, yeah, keep this upright. Just try gently take off that junk while it's still hot and soft. Okay, that's good. 2 to go. And I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take this one here. Macbook temperatures and air are very destructive to iPhones if you let it get too close. Yeah, 470 and 90% air. That's somewhat world-ending for an iPhone. Ah, just realised I can just take this one here. I don't have to take those up there at all. Ach nee. Just kind of messed it up a little more from what it was. Yeah, so now we need these 2 parts. And we'll have to obviously take them from another 928 or similar. Fortunately, we do have, hopefully the Daniel Lang board will save us again. And what is this? Oh, I thought someone was here. This is like 6 boards now that this donor board has saved. It's great when you get a donor board, and it just seems to end up saving so many other lives just from the one board itself. I was a little bit worried I was going to tap that for a second. It's not the sort of thing you want to hit. We've got to fix up those 0 ohm resistors. Honestly, I think I'm just going to take the cluster and replace them outright. And it's a good thing too because we had a shonky pad there. I've just got to get our 2010 ohms. 201s possibly. Every Mac should carry a donor card. Hey Prolux, that's a good idea. You know, that actually is not a dumb idea really if you think about it. When they buy the Mac, mind you, it's not the sort of thing Apple would ever do, but when they buy the Mac, it should be like, do you consent your board to be used for spare parts in the event that this board is no longer able to be revived? You know what, I think I might add that to my repair submission forms. I need to zoom out a bit. They may be small parts, but they're not disturbingly difficult to work with, so we can afford the distance. What would be more fun is if you could make it so that every time your board did save another MacBook, it would go on to its life saved list. So the previous owner can look back and think of, see all the good it's done. The downside, of course, is if someone decides, you know what, my board saved so many computers, I want financial restitution now. Yeah, that sort of not buyer's remorse, but sort of like charity remorse. Kind of like when people sell their business idea for too cheap or something, and then they feel like because someone went along and implemented it and made a success, that they are owed more due to the fact that the implementation was successful of their idea. It's like, my idea was worth more than what I sold it for. It's like, well, you sold it cheap. That's business. Because most of the time in business, ideas are easy, implementation is hard. Like, anyone can think, I'm going to do this and this and this, but actually doing it, that's a whole different ballgame. Michael Tritz, that almost sounded like Better Call Saul, the Breaking Bad spin-off. Okay, is there another cap I missed? Yeah, look, I think I'm going to change this one as well. It's almost always a problem maker later. But I wonder, has anyone actually coined the term, like, what do you call it, charity remorse or something like that? I know a good example of charity remorse and every day that seems to keep coming up, and that is people who license their software under the GPL or BSD. Yeah, they go for free licenses, and then another company comes along. Actually, it's been more the another company comes along and uses their code and actually does something really good with it. And they're like, "You owe me money." It's like, you made the software free, for goodness sake. How do I owe you money? That's right, that's a 2.2 25 volt, and I do have them, yes. Kind of like OBS, Open Broadcaster, right. At least Open Broadcaster, they should be getting sort of various sponsorship / support deals these days, surely. And more than likely they'll find that manufacturers will sooner go to OBS directly rather than to Streamlabs. But of course the thing is, Streamlabs can always just take whatever's generated, and unless OBS changes their licensing, I guess. I don't know what license they're using at the moment. These are noise suppression caps, high frequency switch noise, stuff like that. Let's see how they come up. The other problem you often get is with some open source groups and all that, once they actually get money in their hands, they actually don't know what to do with it. They don't really utilize it appropriately. And then they probably hire some consultant which is essentially there to fill his own pocket. I think Mozilla is a good example of that. As soon as Mozilla started getting money from Google, they basically just, well, they didn't do diddly squat, did they? I mean, geez, Thunderbird has to be, without doubt, one of the worst email clients out there in terms of resource consumption. It's like, hey Thunderbird, how many gigabytes of RAM do you want? And it just says yes. And you're like, I'm only loading one email. It's like, I'll take it all. I don't know how Thunderbird is such a cluster, but it really is. I use it every day and I hate it, but I don't really have a lot of viable alternatives, and that's the problem. The only viable alternative I used to have was Sylpheed Claws, and it is a fantastic package. And honestly, if someone dropped them $1 million or dangled $1 million at them to add the HTML front end to it, that would be a good email package instead of the piece of crap that is Thunderbird. And it's not just because Thunderbird's plain text, because I know HTML does take up a fair bit of resources to process, but it's just Thunderbird in general. I also am not a fan of the default inbox style. I do prefer my mail to be stored as each email is a single file in its own folder. Mbox kind of came out at a time when we did have some problematic limitations on the number of files you could have in a folder. Like it was used to be 32,000 on several Linux systems, and Windows certainly wasn't much better or something. But yeah, that's resolved. And plus, you can always just store them in a bit of a hash tree filter down. So yeah, it doesn't have to just be one folder for the inbox. You can have subfolders, things like that, like per day or whatever. The point is, single email per file. It's a very fast system. You would think that having it all as a single lump as a database file would be more useful or quicker, but it just doesn't seem to end up that way. Probably because as you get more and more email in there, the database becomes bigger, and then there's more overhead in dealing with it. You're better off creating an index, maintaining an index, and then actually have the emails as separate files. My opinion, based on having made a good career out of making email filtering software for commercial entities like Virgin and National Bank and Parmalat and such. Virgin was an interesting one to see their purchase request come up. And I was like, seriously? Virgin? They're like, yep. $20 volts, 400 milliamps, back to zero. Come on, kick up. 1.4 amps. That looks more promising. The plug display? Yeah, display is plugged in. Interesting. We don't have a display yet. That's different. 1 amp. No display. What's going on? I hope we don't get a blinking folder. That's going to really tick me off. Virgin Australia. As in airline overgroup or whatever. Alright, this is a little unusual. So we've got 1.5 amps, but we're not going anywhere and no bong. Come on, what's going on here? 1.2, do we have more shorts somewhere? Do we have a bad display? Screen initialized, did it? Oh yeah, here we go. We've got some weird thing going on down the bottom here. I don't know what that's doing. Trackpad click. Cap locks works. I don't know what that is. It's got 15 bars down the bottom, very fine bars. That's not a reflection of the MacBook Pro. So I don't know what that's doing. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Try Prime reset. Not sure if it just made a little bit more progress then or not. I'll give it another minute. See what happens. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It may have sensor problems. I suspect that TMP461 is actually kind of messed up. And the fans are spinning absolutely bonkers fast. So I'm going to guess it's in SMC fail-safe mode. And it may be hogging one of the lines. It's operational, it's just not really healthy. Okay, let's turn that off. I'm going to plug that in and then pull the option key and see what happens. Bong's not always guaranteed on these either. In fact, most of the time they're disabled. But at least we know it does work, but we're just not sure what state it's in. Okay, it's running very slow, so I'm going to say that TMP 461 needs replacing. I mean, the battery's not connected either, so that kind of inhibits it, but my guess is that 461 needs replacing. So out we come again. I was kind of hoping not to have to replace it, simply because of the fact that I'm running low on them. I've ordered more, but I know that I'm probably going to get to the point where I'm desperately going to have to dig around and find some replacements. Okay, it's this chip here. It didn't look too bad, but I could be wrong. Gas chip looks a little bit dirty and gnarly over there, but not too bad. Anyway, we'll get another TMP 461. Miles, looks like you're also wanting a international punch in the face. Alright, that leaves me with a total of 6 left. You know, the rate I'm going these days, that's not going to last long. That's maybe a week, maybe 2, if I can scavenge some. By the way, if you're wondering what this chip is, it's actually a flash ROM sort of chip. It's for the camera. And I have a feeling that this, if you get that security update problem and it keeps looping around, try to replace that. I think it might help. I could be wrong, but I seem to recall sometime in the past that I had to replace it and it resolved that issue indirectly. There's so many things that pop up while you're working on these jobs, just accidental things, and you kind of go, ooh, I need to remember that or test that. And you just never get around to doing it. And it's a real pain because I think you lose the chance to make useful breakthroughs that help other people repair the machines. Like if you can find out, okay, this is how we can get around the dreaded security update required, and you don't have to change the touch bar or something like that. Stuff like that, and you just constantly is on your we'll do it in a bit, we'll do it tomorrow type list. Wi-Fi cables, no, I'm not doing them. I can always fly to Parramatta. That's always an option. I might catch COVID, but it might be worth it. So maybe it wasn't TMP this time around. Oh, well, that's weird. It just did a fan restart. What are you doing, little computer? What are you doing? Oh, that's a start bar I see coming up. Yep, we've got a start bar creeping across the screen, just under the little edge of the paper napkin. It takes about 22 hours for me to drive from here down to Brisbane, to get into Brisbane, and you lose about 2 hours. You like hit the outside of Brisbane and then it's still another bit of time. So there's Apple logo. Yeah. Something's still running sluggish though. It may be running sluggish because I don't have the battery connected in this instance. Jesus Christ, it's slow. Sorry, Lungawarge. Gecko thought it was amusing. Come on, man, I want this to finish. Jeez, yeah, I've got 15 minutes before midnight. I've got to go play games. It's the flippin' weekend. Brizzy is now 9 hours for you. Really? Wow, that's cool. Yeah, 22 hours to Brisbane. There's basically an hour and a half for me just to get onto the highway. And then from there, it's, a good 20 and a half hours from Townsville. Even if I take the shortcut through air, it's still much the same. Play Elden Ring. No, tonight I'm gonna try and I'm gonna be doing more 7 days, and then I'll be trying days. Well, that's just kind of stuck there. I think I'm gonna connect the battery and see what happens. It's probably in the middle of doing some disk checking, so I'm gonna obviously interrupt it. Yep. Don't you judge me. Oh, shite. All the little parts that I took off are just gone. Hey, Raj. I'm disappointed about the 1708, but I'm almost 100% sure that that is a dead CPU of some sort. You're on day 95, Corey. So you must have some crazy zombies by now showing up. I finally started getting the skinless zombies showing up. This one really is sluggish to pick up initially. Hey, that was a bomb. Yay, a PAL logo. Go, man, go. Come on, you can do it. Go, go, go. Make it to the end. It's probably like, I would have gotten there sooner, but some jerk cut my power. Okay, I don't know whether it's going to show up higher or lower than... Come on. I think it's just doing some major disk check, but it's just got like a 1 terabyte storage on it. Yeah, it's just sort of staying on that for the moment. Soldier with a bomb. Okay, so what, he does more damage than the police officer? I guess he does. Okay, this thing's definitely kind of stuck there. I don't like the implications of that. I'm just hoping that it's just really got a messed up file system and that it's working its way through. Because it seemed to make fairly rapid progress while it was moving. Come on. Ugh. It's got plenty of activity going on. Everything is doing what I'm expecting, except, yeah, like I said, I expect something is not kosher with the file system at the moment. Hey, supercomputing. Soldier with a bomb will blow up concrete. Oh, hell. Oh. Well, we now have nothing. Oh, here we go. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh no, this is not what we want. It's bad news. Your Mac can't be used until this update. Well, I might have to prove my theory that I was talking about. Yeah, it wants me to connect. Okay, this is how stupid gets done. Like I said, I have inadvertently fixed it in the past, not intentionally. But I don't know whether it was because I took the BIOS or the flash ROM from another machine. Okay. Alright, now we've got all the neighbours' Wi-Fi showing up. Fantastic. See ya, Francis. Yeah, B-Dog, usually once it starts this, it's basically an endless loop. And I've tried asking Apple to fix it for me, and they sort of don't quite acknowledge the issue. Sometimes it works, most times it does not. Oh, you can know my password. It's 7 9s and a 2. And then my other ones are just 1111111. And my login password is just 1111. But yeah, if you can, yeah, try again. My theory is that obviously this update is kept somewhere on one of the flash ROMs or whatever. So if you can replace it with a machine that has already had the update done, then you should be good. Password is I secretly love Lewis. The touch bar isn't actually the problem, as far as I'm aware. I mean, it can be caused by it, but I don't believe it's actually the key issue. At least not once it gets to this point, because you can fix it up and it still persists. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm sorry. It's getting late, and I did promise Elita that I would stop hanging out with all of you by midnight, and that's what I'm going to do. So sayonara, chappies and ladies. I'm off to have some fun. And then I'm probably going to come crawling back later and try and fix this up. So that's it for tonight. You all enjoy your days. I'm going to go and have some fun. You take care. I'll catch you later.